Milwaukee has this relative abundance of water. And what strikes me is that despite this abundance, Milwaukeeans in general have this an amazing appreciation for water and the sense that it needs to be protected and cared for and managed appropriately.
There's a lot happening here. I'm really blown away by how many people are really, really passionate about making the city a better place for everyone. So I've loved being a part of this environmental community in Milwaukee.
The native plants and the bioswells work together to collect that extra storm water when it rains heavily. And so instead of the water flooding the streets and residential properties, we have this beautiful space that actually helps to soak up some of that storm water. But then at the same time, it's beautiful.
If you think of the city as a tapestry of all kinds of diverse spaces and activities, and the presence of nature is always there. It's in large part the city suppresses nature. I mean, from a stormwater point of view, we design cities historically to get rid of water as fast as possible, to dry them out, because mud is our enemy. And that we've found that's necessary, but there are also limits to that. That has its own repercussions, and a lot of green infrastructure is trying to soften up the city again, to allow water to stay on site, to not channel it so directly.
We really do take our water for granted. And I think that extends from our great resources of Lake Michigan and our 3 rivers in the city of Milwaukee, all the way to we can just turn a knob or flush a toilet and we have clean water coming to our properties. That doesn't happen in a big part of the world.
I would like people to think about Milwaukee as a water city or as a coastal city as one of the first adjectives that they attach to Milwaukee. You know, if a stranger says, "Hey, you live in Milwaukee, tell me about it," you know, to be able to say, we're a water city, we're a coastal city.
Be aware of what you do has an impact on the environment, whether it's just the environment in general or water. And I'll use one example, plastics. Oh my God. As you start to get aware of the presence of plastics, you realize they're just ubiquitous. It's really difficult. So I think we need to think about, there's an issue that, okay, how do I reduce my use of plastic?
The most visible, sensible thing people can do is not litter and pick up litter. And we're really concerned about the amount of plastic debris that's out there that seems to be proliferating in our society. And it's very concerning because even if a small percentage of it ends up in the rivers, that stuff doesn't go away very fast at all. And it can really have an impact on our aquatic life. And ultimately, you know, there's concerns about us microplastics breaking down and getting into our water supply, which is obviously not good for human health.
Everything that we do eventually goes into Lake Michigan, and guess what? It kind of stays there. A lot of residence time for Lake Michigan is about 100 years. So I always tell people, if you let it leak into, toss, throw, otherwise get into the lake, it will be there, you know, tomorrow. And of course, if you live in Milwaukee, you drink Lake Michigan water, right? So, and the human body is made up of about 60 to 70% water. So if you're like me, and you live around here, you are more Lake Michigan than you are anything else. So think about that the next time you throw or let something go out in that system. I always say, you throw it in today, you might drink it tomorrow.
Understanding the connections between climate change and being a coastal city, and that means that we're experiencing this already, but more extreme storms. And so, you know, with warmer air masses, you have more extreme storms which can lead to flooding and all sorts of problems. And so that's water on the ground, but we have to be really smart about adapting to climate change and doing our part to reduce our contributions to it by cutting back on fossil fuels. But if we don't adapt to climate change through green infrastructure and other ways of managing water, we'll be underwater if we're not careful.